There are good habits and there are bad habits. Today, we're going to talk to you about 4 bad habits that you need to quit right away to get your life back on track. Sometimes the bad habits kind of like hide under the sheets. You don't even know they're there. You don't even know that you're doing them because they just become part of the fabric of your day. But are they hurting you? That's the question you need to ask yourself. And when we first got into retirement, we carried over a lot of bad habits that we had during our career, and it was because our life was different. It was busy, it was hectic, we worked all day. We had to come home. Sounds like you're justifying bad habits. I'm not justifying it, I'm just repeating that. We made this mistake. Some of the habits we're going to talk about today, we used to do, particularly when we got into retirement, because now we have this free time. So when you and I would, when we were working, we'd get home from work, one of us would go to the store and buy the food. Someone else would, go home and set the table, whatever it might be. But one of our habits was, at the time we thought it was a good habit, was when we started to cook dinner, we'd have a bottle of white wine, and that was fun and enjoyable. And then we'd have that bottle while we cooked. And then we'd sit down and have dinner and we'd have a red bottle of wine, which again was fun and enjoyable. It was wine that we liked. But every day, every morning, as we got older too, we started to feel the effects of those 2 bottles of wine on our sleep, on our body, and on our attitude. And it was really, really bad. So, and I think it's important to note the habits that got you where you are today, or got you to the age that you are today, or got you to the status that you have today, may or may not be the habits that are serving you. And I'll give you a work example. Mark and I, once there was, what was the first thing? A Palm Pilot, then a BlackBerry, and then a cell phone. Yeah. And then a cell phone with, all your stuff on it, all your emails and attachments and Dropbox and everything else. We used to check our email all day and honestly all night during our careers. So that was a habit of just grabbing your phone when there was a down minute and scrolling your email. That's a habit that I couldn't bring into retirement because my emails now are what? A sale from Crate and Barrel, or, Williams Sonoma has Lake Crusade pots on. Like, I don't need to stop what I'm doing to check my email now. Right. But it was a natural reaction when there was a lull in the day or a lull in the conversation for me to grab my phone and check my email, right? Because that's what we did. So that habit, that kind of was under the covers, part of the fabric of our life. I didn't need anymore. But it took kind of a harsh realization that I was always in my phone to make me stop that. Well, before we talk about the 4 habits, I think that what people need to understand is like, why do people get this wrong in retirement? And I think one thing as a retirees feel is that I've worked my whole life. You've worked your whole life. Now it's time to relax. You should be able to do whatever it is you want to do. And to some extent that's okay, but not these 4 bad habits. You've got to find some good, healthy habits to fill your time, or you're going to get into trouble. Yeah. And you do have to kind of look back on your habits and kind of assess a little bit to say, is this going to be important and meaningful to me moving forward? Because some habits that you learned during your career, maybe a time management hack or habit or a trick or something, maybe that still would work for you. So I don't think we're saying all habits that you had in the past don't move forward. No. But certainly you need to kind of decide which ones can move forward with you to be additive into your life. Well, the other thing that people make the mistake of is they enter retirement and they say, look, my current routines and habits have served me well, right? My entire career. So I'm going to keep going. Well, the 2 bottles of wine every night, for whatever reason, it served us well at the time we thought so. We got through it. We were younger. We were active. We had a lot of energy. It doesn't serve us now. So this attitude, people get it wrong because they think, well, I've been doing that for 38 years, so I'll just keep doing it. It's okay. Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And, the other thing people will say to us is change feels overwhelming, and changing your habits is really, and a shock to your system. If you were in the habit of getting up in the morning and, watching the news for an hour while you brushed your teeth and did your hair and did your shower and everything, and now that hour of watching TV has turned into 6 hours of the TV. Being on that habit probably isn't serving you because you're still at home, right? So this mindset shift that people have to make, like us, is that drinking every night's probably not the best idea, right? Scrolling through social media, the second you get up in the morning for an hour laying in bed, it's probably not a good idea. Yeah, no, I agree. Binge media is probably not a great idea for sure. Saying yes when you mean no, and these aren't necessarily the habits, but it's a mindset shift that you just have to in generally say, I say yes too much. Yeah. I mean, my brother used to have this saying that the word no is a full sentence. We're really bad. We're people pleasers, and we want everyone to be happy around us. So we say yes. Too often, we're getting better at saying no. Well, I used to say yes a lot, and saying yes, but having a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. In reflection, you think, I probably should have just said no, because walking around with a chip on your should is not a great idea. So, being real clear as to what you want to do, when you want to do it with whom you want to do it, those are your rights in retirement. Yeah. So saying no when you mean no is a full sentence. And this is going to help you when we get to the habit list to realize it's okay that I stopped doing this. I mean, I think it's just part of the mindset shift that you have to make. The other thing where people get themselves in trouble in retirement and they don't change their habits is they live without a plan. Now, I know we get comments. You guys plan too much. You write too much down, too much structure. Well, somebody told us we must have a plan to put our socks on each day. I have that subscribers, I have that. It's on my checklist. I know my daily get dressed. Your daily matching socks, underwear, socks. No, but seriously, having some kind of routines and plans during the week helps you carve away some of the habits that we're going to get into so that you can stop that, because these habits are going to ruin your life for sure. The other one that we should really spend some time talking about as a mindset shift is this idea of neglecting your body, right? Putting your self-care, putting your body movement, putting your workouts, putting your breath work, putting your yoga, whatever it is at the bottom of the list every day. And I was so guilty of doing that because I had so many things going on with work and so many things going on with the kids and sports and, nonprofits and, it was kind of like Jody just always moved to the bottom of the list. My health and wellness moved to the bottom of the list. So we talked about the fact that people get stuck and get this wrong because they feel they should be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. The old routines still work for me, and change feels overwhelming at this age. We get that. But let's jump into the 4 habits. The 4 habits that you need to stop right now, 100%. The first one is binge watching social media. And that could be getting up in the morning. First thing, grabbing your phone. You're laying in bed, you turn it over, and you go to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, the news. You scroll for an hour or two in bed. That is one of the most unhealthiest things that you can do to your life right now. It's just a huge distraction. It really replaces any reflection, self-motivating thoughts, or even any original thoughts that you can come up with. You're replacing them with, this fed media that, you just sit and mindless. I know even my girls at 27 and 29 years old, they'll say, oh my God, I scrolled TikTok for an hour today. And in my head, I think to myself, that is an hour you're never going to get back. Not sure if you learned anything. I'm not sure if it sparked any interest. I'm not sure if you bought anything, like whatever your thing is, but it was really mindless scrolling. There's actually, in your phone, you can go in and it will tell you how long you've spent. Screen time. Yeah, I think it's screen time, how long you've spent on each app. And, the phone is a great tool. I mean, there's a lot of good tools you can use the phone for, but binge watching reel after reel after reel for an hour is when. So try this again. The next time you have your phone in your hand and you're scrolling for an hour, at the end of that hour, write down everything. You learn how great you feel, what's positive in your life because of it. I don't think the list will be very long. It's just a really annoying distraction that you think you're growing as a human. You think you're going to feel better because of that, but you're not, because stuff comes up that just absolutely stresses you out, particularly the news, particularly today. I mean, we don't consume the news really proactively at all. It comes to us in different ways, but you can get hooked watching TV all day long in the news. So this is a really bad habit. You have to think about at least cutting in half or cutting down by 2/3. So that you've got free time to do some other things in your life. And there is a device, a couple of our kids actually have it, that you can put on your phone that locks you out of screen time.
Oh, yeah. What is...
They all have it. It's It's called like the box or yeah, something. And you put it on, and I know one of our daughters and her boyfriend do it every night after dinner. Yeah, they decide, because they haven't seen each other all day long. Last thing they want to do is just mindlessly sit next to each other, scrolling, right? So they put the lockbox on, right? But I forget what it's actually called. All right. Second habit in retirement that you want to change. Ditch, ditch, get rid of. Stop saying yes when you really mean no. This is something that Jody and I are working on really hard, well, with each other, but also with others because we're both people pleasers. And sometimes our biggest arguments or disagreements come from the fact that I feel like Jody's saying yes when she really means no. And I can't get her to say no and vice versa. So we're working on that as a couple. But if there's something going on that we get invited to and we both don't really want to go, yeah, we sometimes say yes because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings, right? But at the end of the day, we have to get better at saying no, not only to each other, but to other people. We have a neighbor here in Marco Island that lives across the street from us. And she always says to me, the test of a good relationship is when you feel comfortable saying no. When I invite you somewhere, not when you say yes, because you think I want you to say yes, right? So sometimes if we've been traveling all week, we get home and she pops over and I'll say, you know what? I can't go on a walk right now. We literally just walked in the door. She feels validated that our friendship is strong enough for me to say the no. So she's given me a lot of confidence in that area, right? The third habit that you need to stop right away, maybe it's even number one, the habit of neglecting your body. I know so many men and women who enter this phase of life. They haven't taken care of themselves for 20 or 30 years, so you can't lament on that. I don't know what kind of shape you're in or how you feel, but now is time to start paying attention to your body, going to the gym, going to see your doctors, eating better, drinking less, exercising, gosh, the list goes on and on. We tend to say during our careers that we're too busy, we feel great, right? I mean, when we used to have hangovers every day, that was our normal, so we thought we felt fine until I stopped drinking and Jody's cut back. I don't have hangovers. We don't have hangovers, right? Every day, that's the new normal. I mean, you'll have a glass of wine that doesn't affect you at all. No, it's not really. Last night I went out to dinner and had this huge rack of ribs, ruined my sleep, this morning I felt terrible. There were smoked ribs. I felt like I woke up with a campfire was in my mouth all night long. I shouldn't have done that.
I know. I shouldn't have done that.
I know. I shouldn't have done that. You were neglecting your body by eating poorly. I was neglecting my body. So neglecting your health. I don't know if you want to add to that, but the only thing that I would, we've both gone through a huge transition in this. Right? Yep. The only thing that I would add is, I had the opportunity yesterday to play golf with an 87, soon to be 88-year-old woman who outdrove us, outplayed us, walked us out, everything does. And I finally said to her, I said, Sandy, what is the secret? I know you're going to tell me. It's something like what? Like you chew on ginger every day, or you've never had a drink in your life, or what is it? What's the magic? And she said, well, first of all, genetic, I have very good genes and I have longevity in my genes. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Not everybody gets that. But she said, the second thing was I never neglected my body and the movement of my body every day. I moved my body. And on the days I didn't want to, I did twice as much as the day before because I just told myself, you have to move your body every day. And here she is, 87, about to be 88 years old, and moves her body. Spry, agile, great mind. I mean, very impressive, right? So kind of reinforced to me that whole idea of do not neglect your body. Just stop that. The fourth habit that you need to think about is ignoring what you're going to do every day and week and creating some kind of a plan. Ooh, you're going to get comments that say you're a planner. You know what? Is having a morning routine, having a daily routine, having date night, having time together. You got to plan now because we now are time affluent. We have lots of free time. Today's Thursday. It's video day. It's on our calendar. We're going to shoot video for 3 hours. Monday we work a little bit. Tuesday, Wednesday's your golf day. Tuesday's my golf day. Saturday's my golf day. Friday we work in the morning. Sometimes this afternoon we won't work because we have nothing to do. But we're gonna go out for lunch and we're gonna practice golf. This is all planned. It's not waking up this morning and saying, what do you want to do today? And I think, well, we tried that in the beginning when we first retired and it didn't work well at all, did it? Well, I think that we said, well, we got to shoot some videos. Well, am I interrupting you or are you interrupting me? Go ahead. I'm not sure. But when we didn't have a plan, we'd wake up and say, shoot, we're behind the 8 ball. We have to shoot some video and we'll do it today. But that took place as something else. I think when you say the word plan, people get a little defensive, a little negative, and we get a lot of pushback on that. So there needs to be another word for plan, and it can't be schedule. And it can't be, lists or to-dos or honey-dos or all those things. So you have to figure out what's right for you. For us, it's a check-in on Sunday. How does the week look? What do you have? What do I have? What do we have? And how does the week look? And then it's kind of the routine that picks up after that, right? Right. So without that, I can schedule some things that Mark doesn't even know is on my calendar, and he may pick a day for video day. And, I'm in North Naples doing something with a friend. Some of it does take some coordinated calendar work. I hate to use the word plan, but scheduling or schedule options or joint calendars, different things to keep yourself on track so that you don't lose days. Let's give you a list of things that you can do right now to help get rid of these 4 really bad habits. Number 1, delete 2 or 3 apps off your phone. You've removed TikTok. I did. I don't have TikTok on my phone. And what else have I removed? There's some news feeds. So if you can delete a couple of apps off your phone, or at least move them off the first page, so there's a not to go to. And another thing to do is make the agreement that when you get up first thing in the morning, the first thing you do is not to pick up your phone and scroll right. You can pick up the phone and look for a text from the kids. But that's it. Get out of the bedroom, get out of bed, and go have a cup of coffee. Yeah. I get up in the morning and I make the bed. I get dressed for the gym. I text the girls. I do my Bible study. And then I play World Right while I'm drinking my coffee. Yeah. So I am in and out of my phone. Could I give any of those up? I probably should think about it, right? But the next one is practice saying things like, let me get back to you, as opposed to immediately. Yes, I will do that. Unless it's something you're a holy hell. Yes, convicted on wanting to do. Go ahead. I would say it's a good soft way to start saying no. Right. Let me get back to you. Then you can think about the best way to say no. Right. Another thing to do is add a 20-minute walk to your morning routine. And if you don't have a routine, now you do. Get up, have your coffee, whatever. Go outside if it's cold out. Put on a coat, a hat and gloves. Walk for 20 minutes, 10 minutes one way, and 10 minutes back. Right? What's another thing? I think that's a great idea. Like I said, I would suggest using Sunday to loosely set up your week in whatever format works for you, works for your friends, your family, your spouse, your partner, whoever else you're dealing with. Okay? Instead of screen time in bed when you come out to have your coffee, buy a journal, nothing really fancy, or a piece of paper, and write down 3 things you're grateful for, and do that instead of scrolling. Do that for a week and see how you feel. This gratitude muscle that we all have. I call it a muscle comes to life when you start writing down things you're grateful for. And on top of that, write down one self-affirmation. One thing about yourself that's really positive. I'm a good dad. I'm a good mom. I'm a good friend. I'm a good spouse. Whatever it might be, here's something you can take action on. Do an activity or a person audit. Just look back over the past couple weeks and what is the activity and or person that you can say, you know what? I could cut that out, or I could start saying no to that. Or I don't need to do that every week. I could do it every other week because it's not bringing you the joy and satisfaction. Maybe it's something you signed up for a year ago and you're just still doing it because you signed up for it. Really audit your activities so that you can put some no's and, really carve out the things that give you joy. The other thing you can do is try to start scheduling the same time that you go to bed. I know so many people that they'll binge watch shows and they'll go to bed at 1 in the morning and the next night it's 11 and the night after that it's 3 and then it's at 10. It's really important to get 7, 8 hours of sleep. So the best way to do that is start going to bed at night at the same time. And so which of these habits can you ditch? Which ones can you get rid of? What can you start to replace with? In your daily activities, drop that in the comments below. And if you got a lot of value out of this video, this next one, if you're in your 50s, 60s, or 70s, learn these lessons for that age group. Watch this next.